that's typically something people veer away from. You know
Right.
what I mean? Keeping an elevated heart rate for a prolonged period of time.
If we want to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, obesity,
Which is the number one killer too.
Absolutely. Type 2 diabetes, plenty of cancer. If we want to reduce the risk of any of those things, which are essentially cardiovascular disease is almost inevitable at some point, just the level of in which you have it will vary based on your diet and based on your lifestyle. The best thing you can do is hit those American College of Sports Medicine guidelines of 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous aerobic exercise per week.
Per week, okay.
Per week, 150 minutes. And if you want to do it just vigorously, go for 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you put resistance against your bones twice a week. Like those are the guidelines that are backed by literature.
Yeah.
So
research,
actual research. Lifting weights is great for you, and you should be doing it. It will
bone
reduce,
density is a huge thing. I mean, we work with a lot of senior populations. Just getting on your feet and walking around and challenging your joints and your bones.
You don't need to be squatting 400.
No.
Just start,
There
whatever.
needs to be I like the push of functionality that has been reached in.
Well, that's what we function on.
I feel like this is starting to move forward a little bit more rather than it being so much vanity, which I really appreciate.
I feel the same way. It's too funny you say that. But it's been something too that instead of the vanity, like I said before, it's educating people on what to expect when you're working out. Like you said, what are they doing it for, and sort of rewiring their morals on that. And so then they can go about it and realize, wow, you know what? My shoulders have a lot better range of motion, or they're not clicking as much. My knees aren't clicking as much, or I'm having an easier time getting up and down.
Newsflash, when you feel that good, you start looking at yourself like, damn. I'm that bitch. That is the biggest change that you can have. Like just your mindset around feeling better because you can move better because you're progressing in different ways. It doesn't always have to be, oh, look, my waist is smaller. You know, it's definitely tough. I mean, I'll give you a little bit of background in. Like, this isn't something that I was just naturally good at. I grew up in a household where weight was very, very much a center of attention. My mom knows because I've told her this already. I mirrored her behaviors quite a bit, and her behaviors were basically don't eat anything almost all day, and then when you go to sit down on the couch at night, get up 26 times to go get snacks. So, like now I'm actually working on, I'm like subconsciously pre-programmed to at night want to snack even if I'm not hungry.
Sounds like
so that's something that, so that's something that I'm now aware of
I gotta say
as a
something
subconscious. So now I'm working on that.
That is such an important point. And not to get controversial, but I was saying to somebody, well, you know, I'm gonna get a little
Here
bit.
we go.
If it is, I don't know if it is, but I was saying to somebody, well, like we have all this focus on keeping everybody healthy from COVID, and we should, right? That's fine, or not the Rona. I don't know if that's a key word again. Don't say certain things, right? But and somebody said, well, it's being overweight and being unhealthy isn't contagious. And I said, well, think about it. You grow up in a household where everybody's eating Pop-Tarts and drinking soda. You have to all the time.
Calling me out, Mike?
You have to kind of... You're on the hot seat, buddy.
I see what this is. This is intervention.
He starts sweating.
Hour in to turn into an intervention.
Right. So in the same way where you grow up in that household, so many others do, and that's why we have, you know, such a large tally of people who have cardiovascular issues, and which obviously are 100% due to dietary choices, especially in this country. Right?
Yep.
Right. At least most of them, right? Probably not 100%, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Because again, one goes with the other. All of a sudden you eat like shit, you don't work out, you know, your motivation, your energy
it's a snowball
levels.
effect.
How's your sleeping doing? Probably not very good because you're drinking alcohol really late at night. You can't get the same REM cycle. All these things start to fall apart brick by brick. Nightmare. So in the same way, you grow up in a household where people are condoning, if not encouraging, on top of it, the consumption of these types of things, or maybe that's all you have available to you as a kid. It's like, oh, I want to get a snack. Looks like I'm eating Cheetos.
Yep.
Looks like I'm eating Cheez-Its or Lucky Charms. You know what I mean? That sugar and salt content is like the basis of what you're eating. You don't even actually have any real nutrients in your food. And a lot of people grow up in households like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I was lucky enough that at some point my mother ended up really, I'm not buying this kind of food anymore. We had a lot of more organic stuff in the house. It didn't, obviously it didn't have as many thrills as the box of
course it didn't.
There's
a reason why. There's a reason why we have an obesity
Pebbles.
epidemic.
Exactly. So in the same way, it's important to understand that your habits are contagious because people around you will start doing them. So it's not like
Yeah, and that brings me completely to my why. I mean, I'm becoming more self-aware. I've been on this more self-awareness spiritual, if I take it, journey.
Well, it's not all selfish,
probably,
in other words.
No, it's not.
Other
it's not.
people feed off that.
And I've
in a
been
way.
doing it simply because I know the subconscious that was sort of drilled into my origination of my body image issues, and why I felt like I needed to get hot in the first place, like all that stuff. And I don't want to perpetuate that on my children. So all the small choices that I make now are for them.
Right.
And
that's
they
why
don't
it's
even
like,
exist.
I wish there was more.
Yeah.
But that matters to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to perpetuate the fact. So even funny. Here's a funny for this. Even still, when I walk into my grandmother's home, the first thing she says to me is, "Oh, looks like you lost weight."
Always.
That's
Yeah.
That was my home. That's
Yeah.
what we did. It was everything was based on what you looked like.
Yeah.
And my mom fed us really healthy stuff. But then she would eat all the snacks at night.
Yeah.
And so I watched all the
That's
snacks.
also a huge thing. Like some of the clients that I had who had the worst type of obesity, they were the kind of people who did not eat all day and then ate at night.
Yeah.
It's
tough, and there's actually not very good research done on meal when it comes to meal timing and obesity. Your body doesn't care what time of day it is.
That's another thing.
So we know.
I was going to say
you won't all of a sudden get fat if you start eating after 8 p.m.
Yeah,
like the hunger
emphasize-
monster doesn't come out. It's a calories in versus calories out.
like the caloric value
thing.
of something
That's all
jacks
it
up
is.
after 8.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, fortunately, we have people who can teach others how to become more self-aware and how to have essentially become more acquainted with who they really are and how they function when it comes to food consumption and their behavior, so that they can start making better choices, helping them create a new why.